Etepu, Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, Harun Nefer. This is Qesankh Kaparu with another exciting video for you. And in this video, we're going to talk about why the Moors were badasses. But before I do that, I want you to hit the like button on this video. If this is your first time to my channel, hit the subscribe bell to get notifications on when I go live and when I upload recorded videos. If you're interested in knowing more about my spiritual teachings, you can become a Patreon supporter for as little as $1, $5, or $20 per month. It's up to you, and you can cancel at any time. You'll get exclusive access to instructional videos on the spiritual, videos that'll teach you how to meditate, how to contact your ancestors, lucid dreaming, how to put together a magical amulet. And for a short time, we have free ebooks. My ebooks are on Patreon and they're free. You can download them, start reading today, as well as other secret documents that you can access. So become a Patreon supporter today. Last but not least, share this video with family and friends so we can get the revolution started. So, Harun Nefer, Grand Rising. I want to talk about a very important subject. Now, if you are, let's say, a Muslim, or you were or a Black nationalist, or if you were into Pan-Africanism, you probably already heard about the Moors and know a big deal about them. But there are some of us out there who have no understanding of who the Moors were and their big contribution to history. You see, I think it's when we were growing up, I think it was generation, which one is it? It was generation, well, I don't know, it's one of the generations where we never really got educated on African history or Black history. And it was incumbent upon us to do our own research. In fact, I had a friend of mine, his name is Tony, who brought me a book called From Man to Superman. And that book was phenomenal. It talked about all the things that Black people did and contributed to the world. After I got that book, I was thirsty. I had to have more. I wanted more knowledge. Because for the first time, I didn't see us as just primitive men and women in the bushes, and huts and all that. I saw us from a totally different light. And make no mistake about it, this was on purpose, omitting our history from the history books. And it was an attempt to really downgrade it and degrade us as a people. And now what we are finding, and here's the key thing, what we're finding is that we had more of a contribution than we even knew. But the really strange thing that's happening now with like Generation Z or whatever is that they're coming out of the woodworks and they are regurgitating Black history. And they are shocked, surprised, and even proud that Black people has such a contribution to the world. Now, as I said before, if you had friends in the inner circle, in your inner circle, who knew about Black history, they probably passed on to you information like the Moors were Islamic or Muslims, and they went into Europe and they civilized Europe because Europe was in the Dark Ages, but hearing this information come from your inner circle of Black people is different when it comes from a white person. In fact, when it comes from a white person, we kind of feel validated now. We're like, because, I remember I remember like going to universities and studying and reading all these books on Black history, especially by Dr. Clark and Dr. Ben. But many of the white scholars would say that those books were, I forgot what they called it, like feel good information, and that a lot of facts and things of that nature weren't true. But this was they did this only because they were black authors, and they weren't given the respect and prestige that they should have been given. So now this information is coming from white people who have discovered it on their own and now are like proselytizing it. And it's wonderful. It's very strange to hear them saying it and talking about it. You know what I mean? So let's take a look at this video, this TikTok video that I found on the Moors, because I want you to hear it from a white person's perspective, and also understand just how badass we are as a people and what we accomplished. And if it were not for us, white people wouldn't be in the modern world they're in now. So let's check this TikTok video out. Coming from again a white person, which is shocking.
Have you heard of the Moors? No? What if I told you that they are responsible for making Europe and America what they are today? Except they don't want you to know that. See, the Moors ruled most of the Iberian Peninsula for the 8th century, and they brought things like mathematics, sciences, architecture, agriculture, art, science, basically everything that we consider modern-day Europe. But that's supposed to be a secret. They are actually the ones that are responsible for bringing Europe out of the Dark Ages and into the Renaissance. But again, you're not supposed to know that. Meanwhile, while the Christian Europe had an illiteracy rate of 99% and 0 universities and 0 libraries, Moors, they had 17 universities in 7 cities and over 70 libraries. And then they introduced their education system to Europe. There was a man called Ziryab. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but he was a Moor, and he actually pioneered changing clothes based on the season. That's how dumb Europeans were at the time. They didn't even... What? He also invented deodorant, daily bathing, and invented toothpaste. Like, no wonder the Black Plague destroyed Europe. They were filthy. Ziryab also introduced a 3-course meal: soup, main course, dessert. And the Moors, they even introduced crops that are still prominent in Spain today. Moor cities also had streetlights, hospitals, and running water. And streetlights and paved streets weren't even introduced in London and Paris for another couple hundred years. Moors are also the ones that built the aqueducts that brought running water from the mountains down to the cities, which gave Europe running water. The father of modern surgery was also a Moor, named Al-Zawrawi. Don't know if I'm saying that right either, I'm sorry. He developed innovative and precise surgical equipment and the premier textbook of Western medical training. Oh, and I bet you thought that the Wright brothers were the ones that are responsible for inventing flight. Nope. Ibn Firnas, again, sorry if I pronounced it wrong, but he was the first one to actually attempt flight scientifically, and he was actually successful. The only thing he wasn't successful on was the landing. And those are just a few of the ways that the Moorish people completely changed Europe. But again, they don't want you to know that.
It's like, I mean, you know, like to see this pale white guy, you know, and with red hair, you know, with red hair, talking about the Moors or talking about the contribution that Black people made to Europe, you know. It's pretty just wild just to see that and talk. And then he says how dumb the Europeans were, you know, compared to the Moors. So it's fantastic. And the reason why I brought you that video is because it's not just that guy. I've been seeing this a lot lately where white people have basically started to talk about Black history and talk about how it has been oppressed. And you know, I knew this was going to happen, and we all should have understood, because Ma'at, which is the Egyptian deity, the goddess of truth, justice, and righteousness, you can't put down Ma'at. Truth always rises. It rises to the top. So it was only a matter of time before the omission of our history would start to surface again. And the most incredible thing that I am looking for is when it resurfaces in the religious sector, when we start to understand how the biblical characters were Black and how the Bible came from Black people, and who created that religion, and it was then plagiarized by Europeans. So I'm looking forward to that. That will really be something. But anyway, I just thought I'd give you that little bit of insight to make your day. So, spread the word. Hey, this is Qesankh Ma Keperu, son of Ma Antuhudi. My aunt is the beautiful goddess Heteru. Until my next video, Amen Ra.